I want to talk to David from California, who has some ideas on cosmology. David, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yay, David. Okay, what did you want to talk about today?
You said 10 minutes.
Let's hear it. What do you got?
Okay, I was supposed to call last week, I guess, and talk with Professor Dave, but I talked to Atheist Experience a week or so ago, a week and a half. Anyways,
Okay.
they asked me what cosmology I was using. I said the cosmology of David because they wanted to nail me down. But I just wanted to prove the Bible is correct.
Ooh.
As far as, I don't think the Bible's ever been disproven by science. So just real quickly, I'll give you my evidence from the CMBR.
CMBR.
Sorry, CMBR.
Really quick for those of you, for our audience, there's a lot of people who are might not know. Go ahead and tell them a little bit more about that.
The cosmic microwave background radiation.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. What's your understanding of this?
Not starlight. It's not starlight, so it's in the microwave range of light.
Okay.
Anyways, my thing about space expanding, okay, they say that space is expanding, okay?
Uh-oh.
And we lost the caller. So, Dave, if you could, or we lost the link, one of the two. Stay on the line, Dave.
Yeah. Everybody, please stay on the line. And our crew's going to work hard to get this back up on us again. In the meantime, Ethan, it is very interesting to me that we got a call from your show and we got a fan from your show. So take this as a huge testament of just how much you've reached already, like just how much social reach and YouTube reach that you have. You have a lot to be proud of. You've built a wonderful, I can't even call it a channel. You built a wonderful network.
Thank you. It wouldn't be possible with all the atheists like yourself, like Kenneth Leonard, like Best Name Ever, like Cindy Plaza, Jenna Belk, all the people that have spent time helping me build my channel and joined me in this journey. It's really exciting. I am still like a little kid over all this because it's like a year ago, like I was watching these shows and now I'm on the show. I don't really believe it. I don't, but it's still happening, so it's super cool.
Yeah, we'll believe it because it's going to be posted to Spreaker and Spotify next week or tomorrow. Anyway, looks like we're back. David, are you still with us?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, I have no idea.
We
but
lost
anyway, you're
show audio for a second.
You were talking about stretching the universe.
Oh, okay. Somebody's cutting us off. Anyways, space, I don't know how space can expand on its own. I don't know what kind of physical laws would enable that myself. But, because there could be alien territory out there. I don't know if we have eminent domain going on. We're colonizing alien universes or what? You know what I mean? So
okay. There's hold on. I got to stop you really quick because you've brought up like 3 or 4 different topics already, and unfortunately, we don't really have time to suss all that out. So can we pin this down to just like the one that you want to talk about? You started by talking about proving the Bible is true. Did you want to go there, or did you want to talk more about astrophysics?
Just the CMBR. So
okay.
The CMBR is like 2.72548 degrees Kelvin, right?
Okay.
Plus or minus 0.0001 Kelvin. So it's even all the way across the entire cosmos.
Okay.
Right?
I'll have to look that up, but for now, I'll take your word for it. We can move on the conversation. What does it mean that the radiation is consistent?
Well, they say it established equilibrium over billions of years, but my postulate is that, just like every other Christian, we believe that light is infinitely fast because the microwave is light. So because it's even all the way across the entire cosmos, that means the light either had to go through that billions of years of equilibrium, which doesn't make sense to me, or it traveled at an infinite speed.
Okay, so So responding to that really fast. Not to speak for you, Ethan, but I think I can then say that Ethan and I are not astrophysics experts. Like you're giving us numbers here, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but this is something that I want to look up later. But let's find a way, like, because I've read through a good chunk of the Bible over time, and I don't recall any astrophysics material being presented in there. So, like, puck it all together for me and put a nice little bow on it. What does all this astrophysics have to do with the Bible?
Bible being true, yeah.
Well, so in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." Okay, that was before the stars were formed. So stars were formed on the fourth day.
So real quick,
and light was formed 3 days.
Yeah,
are you
Ethan.
saying God said, "Let there be light" before the universe came into existence?
No. Yeah, the first 3 days there was light before he formed the stars.
So I guess my real question is, how do you know, outside of just taking from what the Bible says?
Well, it coincides. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I just read about the CMBR. The first time I read it, I was like, oh, that's confirming the Bible, because God said, "Let there be light." And the CMBR is one, it's like, it's not even really a wave. It's just one temperature all the way across the entire cosmos. At least that's what they say. 46 billion light years, whatever it is. I don't know.
Now, does this number show up anywhere in the Bible? Do they actually talk about in explicit terms? Like, do they actually spell this out? Hey, you're going to find some cosmic background radiation at this specific frequency all across uniformly in the universe. Does it mention anything like this? Okay, when we think about the Bible and cosmology, they make a lot of really bizarre, metaphoric, vague statements, right? Like, in the beginning, on the fourth day, did this. There's a verse in there that says that God stretched out the heavens, right? But these are so incredibly vague that there are so many possible things that you could look at and say, hey, you know what? This technically fits Jeremiah, right? But it's not specific enough in saying, hey, okay, if you go out there in the universe, you're going to find this, and this is going to be your explicit proof of God. Because they say a lot of things about the universe that turned out not to be true, like the firmament and having pillars that hold up the earth. There's a lot of stuff in there that we can just throw out because we've already figured out that this isn't the way the universe is actually set up. Okay, so I want to know why it's convincing that all this metaphorical stuff that is so vague and not specific is convincing enough, and why it should be convincing enough to us that whoever wrote the Bible knew what they were talking about, and then that it validates all the other stuff that we may not know yet. So help me with that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that science is that specific about it. It's just conjecture as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
The Bible says it to be light, okay, and it has to be like in the infrared range to create heat on the earth. So, and then, like you said, God stretched out the heavens. So all God has to do is stretch out the heavens, and multiple times, even according to secular science, right? And that extends that infrared out to the microwave range. I mean, it's not specific saying, oh, this is a CMBR. I mean, why is God going to use the terminology of modern science? That doesn't make sense.
Okay, but the reason I'm bringing that up is because what we don't have here, and what I would dearly love and need for me to be convinced by this, is what's next. What is this predicting for us? Because if all we have is something that explains information from the past and kind of ties it up very neatly into 66 books, that's not very convincing. All that's saying to me is that there's some way to put different words on this that matches up very neatly with the words that we already have on the page. This is what we in the fan fiction industry like to call retconning. Okay, so what I would like to see is some sort of proof that this is not retcon, and it's not just taking what we have discovered in science and finding a way to still make it compatible with biblical beliefs. So the way that I would think about that is, David, what's next? What is something in the Bible that we can use to make a scientific discovery that we will later find out to be true in explicit enough terms that we know it's not vague?
And when you're done, Park, I have a follow-up.
That is the scientific evidence. I just gave it to you.
You gave us that one. I get that. What's next? What is the next thing that we're going to find out in the Bible that the next thing we're going to find out that to be scientifically true, but we already knew it because it was in the Bible? What is next?
You're going to find out it's all true. I mean, Pangea, I mean, the reason why modern man thought the Earth was flat wasn't because it was actually flat. It was because it was one continent. Okay, so that's proof that modern man knew about Pangea, which separates around 20 feet. All I'm saying is that science is being proved. I mean, science isn't going to disprove the Bible.
Okay, I don't know if I'm phrasing this question properly. I'm going to give it one last try, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ethan. What I'm wondering is, give me something that the Bible predicts or explains that we have not yet explained scientifically that we can find out. And then we can look at the Bible and say, nope, you know what? There it was right there in Isaiah. What is the next major discovery that we have that we're going to find out because we saw it in the Bible?
Well, I didn't call to talk about that. I just called to talk about the CMBR.
Okay, and
so
then,
let me ask you this: what is your experience level like with science? Have you taken science courses? Do you have a degree in anything specific? Where are you at?
No, I don't know that much about science, and I really haven't got that much interest in science. Most of my learning has come from debating you guys. Okay, so I'm a Christian that debates atheists. Okay, so everything that I've learned about the CMBR and everything, like the first time I read it, this was my idea about it. Okay, I didn't sit there studying it profoundly. You know what I mean? I just in depth. I just came to that conclusion based on a little bit of studies that I've done. Okay, all of my studies on climate change or whatever is very limited. I did have like 2 years of studying refrigerants, which is basically greenhouse gases in air conditioning and refrigeration. It's physics. So,
and real quick,
we got.
You admit that you don't necessarily know a lot about science, and in fact, you did say you don't really care for it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't care that much about it, but I still know I'm right.
So, how do you know that you're right about this when you admit you don't even understand science that well?
Because I know that cosmoses can't create themselves, for one. You can't create. I mean, just to say that space can expand infinitely. I mean, if space can expand infinitely, that means there's infinite space. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to give you this. There's a lot of things that seem paradoxical that we don't have the answers to.
Right.
I get it. And that's why we continue to investigate. But to say that this book had the answers all along, and then to explain that this book had the answers all along, not by showing the explicit answers in the book, but by showing how the vague metaphorical statements that they make there could be taken to mean something that science has discovered. I think that's borderline trying to just prove your assertion, going the opposite direction. Right? You're not trying to say, discover what's out there and then let it come to its own conclusion. You're trying to say, let's start with the Bible. And then only if something directly contradicts this, which, as you're saying, science is never probably going to be able to directly disprove the Bible, because we don't disprove stuff. We just say, okay, this is highly unlikely to be possible. But I think you're asking for something that's never going to happen. I think I'm asking for something that either you're not able to give or that isn't out there, which is, what's next? Like, what is the next big prediction that's going to come from this? Otherwise, all we have here is just, I can make and use just the right words to fit this. I really want to. I would keep going with this, David, but we're running low on time, and I have one more caller that I want to get to. You said you like to engage with us, and I love it. But if you really want to be talking about this stuff,
I'd like to talk to Professor Dave.
If you email us at truth@atheist-experience.org, we'll do our best to try to connect you. Or you can find him directly on his channels. He might have contact information there. I can't speak for him, and I wish I could. I wish that we had someone with more astrophysics knowledge to come in here and talk to you about this. But unfortunately, you got a couple of amateurs. Okay.
So I guess why not? Real quick, why not go to an astrophysicist with this and see what they think of it? Someone that would be more capable of handling this, and then come back with the results.
We're low-hanging fruit here, okay? We're the bottom of the totem pole.
No, I've talked to astrophysicists online on your channels and different stuff about this already. Okay. But my point about the whole thing is that you guys are operating on pure faith, because you can't answer these questions.
Oh, no. I admit
So
it.
you're living-
We don't know the answers to these
Right.
questions. This isn't faith. This is an admission that we don't have the information. So let's at least, if we get one thing right today, let's get this right. I'm not making any assertions. Ethan's not making any assertions. Physics doesn't scale very well. Okay. Very small things don't act the same way that very big things do. We know that. There's a lot about this universe that we don't know. I'm not making any assertions. I'm saying, I don't know. So no, I am not taking anything on faith.
Right.
Can we at least walk away agreeing with that, David?
Sure you are. You guys. Well, what is? You guys are believing something on faith.
I don't know.
The day you were born. You're.
The genuine answer to these
so
astrophysical
that's
questions is
actually-
I don't know.
That's actually not true. I don't take my date of birth on faith. I have a birth certificate to prove I was born. So I use.
I said you've been walking by faith since the day you were born, because you've been just assimilating all this information, and you didn't know whether your parents were teaching. I mean, they could have been teaching you Christianity or Islam or whatever it is they were teaching you. You just accepted it on faith.
We are going into further weeds than we have time for on this call.
I want to talk to this guy again.
I do. There's a number of ways to keep engaging with us. I'm sure you know about most of them. We'll talk about Discord and our Facebook groups and our email a little bit more later tonight. David, I appreciate the time that you take to keep talking to us, and I hope that you continue to do so. And I hope that you find that Ethan and I are worthy people to continue the conversation with. We have to get going, but thank you very much, David.
Thank you, David.